BetBoom's hardest test. After all, Game of Gladiators is sitting there waiting in the grand final, but I would argue this matchup is harder for BetBoom because after all, they have yet to be able to beat Falcons in a single series. They've won some individual games, Avery, but they have not been able to beat Falcons a single time in any of these best of threes. Even the group stage games, they go 1-1. They have a 20% win rate against Falcons.
Ooh. Yeah, it is an uphill battle. But you know what they say? Everything happens in Dota at least once.
I've never heard that phrase before, so
I just made it up.
Roll with it.
So for BetBoom, this might be the one time they need it. You only need one. So maybe make that lower bracket run. Claim that championship that they've been looking for a long time now. Is this the roster? Is this the patch they can do it on? Honestly, I've liked some of their ideas. And I think the biggest thing they have going for them is it's a new patch, but they got to play a lot of the games on this new patch going through this lower bracket. So they've got to test more stuff out, figure out what's working for them. I think GPK has been having a hell of a tournament too. This is a guy that a lot of people used to clown on him a bit for, you know, his tilting or the GPK nonsense, the mid-game, like he throws, he dies. But he is having some deathless series this event. He's been having some perfect games.
Yep.
And he has just been racking up KDA. So there's one player for me that stood out at this event for BetBoom that's been that solid rock for them when some of the other stuff maybe has been working some games, maybe hasn't. It's this guy right here in GPK. I'm looking at him this series to step up because a big part of dealing with Falcons and their dominance this year has been shutting down Malrine. You have to slow down his momentum. You have to put him in a position where he's not just going 10-0, 12-0 on the Timbersaws, on the Razors, scaling out of control. And GPK, I mean, this falls on you first, right? Give yourself a good laning phase, put yourself out in front. But it'll be ATF claiming some early momentum here with the Centaur Warrunner. First the Enchantress, not an easy first blood kill, but they will find it.
A little bit of roll in here from Malrine. This matchup truly is the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. GPK has the lowest death average of any of the players here at DreamLeague, while Malrine has the highest kill average of anybody here at DreamLeague. So you are talking about an absolute killer in Malrine against GPK, who just seems to be elusive as hell, and even though they're here in the lower bracket, has just simply not died that many times. In fact, he averages a little over 2 deaths a game.
Which is pretty absurd.
Yeah.
One thing that does help him, though, is he plays a lot of these elusive heroes lately.
Yep.
Like the Storm we saw got banned. That is going to be one of his go-tos if he ever gets his hands on it. The Wind Ranger, another one. These types of heroes, they scale really well. They're really hard to kill once they start building momentum. And it's something BetBoom can rally behind. Also interested to see how Nightfall can make this Tiny work again, because this has become one of those carries that on paper just seems absurd. We saw it yesterday in the hands of Ame in that game. They didn't win that game, but that time he put them in a position to win that game.
Yeah.
And it just does some crazy stuff. The slow resistance. He's one of the few heroes that has innate status resistance left. After a lot of the status resistance got removed from the Sange builds up. That's a rare trait to have nowadays. And this new Craggy is just ridiculous in the right-click matchups. So he has so many of these little passes, just turning him into this monstrosity if you get there.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Tiny is going to be like one of my most hated carries to go up against as an offlaner. I've already felt it, like I've already played up against it like 3 different times, and I could just feel like, oh my god, this guy's so oppressive. You can't really hit him very much. He hits back like a truck. He's going to take the CS advantage over you. There's nothing you can really do about that because base attack damage is so high, so much higher than yours. And then he just becomes a beast in the late game.
You say that, but ATF has matching here. Double Bracer Centaur, he's already up to 90 damage on the board. And this hero is another hero. His laning phase is just ridiculous now because he basically gets free boots on top of everything else. ATF living his best life here and cruising through this laning phase. In fact, all Falcons cores off to a pretty swift start here, claiming 3 of the top 4. This team just CS's damn well. Yeah. One of the things you have to match. I think BetBoom is one of the teams that can match that. I think they're one of the teams in the world where their core players can go toe-to-toe. But is it a difficult task, especially in a full-out series where elimination's on the line?
It's so crazy to me how Amar starts every lane just getting so much CS that he's always able to get this double bracer timing super fast. And then at that point in time, like the rest of the CS is easy, right? Once you get to your double bracer. Yeah, maybe.
Why?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, it's move speed on this hero, right? You're just replacing the boot slot with another bracer. It's hella efficient.
Oh, yeah. I think Centaur got that really nice buff as well, because now when you use double edge, right, you're getting strength off of it. Well, okay, that is also turning into movement speed. So now you can actually constantly be using double edge in these fights and keep up with heroes, which was a problem with Centaur in the past. A lot of that was fixed through the stomp animation being changed, but now it gets fixed even further by this double edge and extra movement speed off the facet.
It's also interesting that we see Snake King go for this Hellbearer convert that we were looking at bottom.
Yep.
He went for the Alpha Wolf in some of their previous games, but maybe something about their lineup here. He just wanted the Hellbearer. Maybe the laning's a bit better or something. But nothing sticks out to me because the big Hellbearer doesn't have an aura anymore. It has a death throw for boosted damage, but I don't know if that's something you're going to play. Like, are you planning to run this Hellbearer in the fight and kill it for the death throw aura? The mini one does have an aura, but of course it forces you to summon the larger one later. So this is one of those that's like really interesting. You know, I would love to ask him why he opted for the Hellbearer here over the Alpha Wolf, where he talked about it just being super reliable, which makes sense. You're just getting damage aura over the whole game.
Yeah. I will say, if you do get that death throw, it is a massive buff.
Oh yeah, it is.
To a hero like Gyrocopter or even Earth Spirit, who has very high base stats. Gonna go on Skeeter here, run him down. They saw the Chen move out of lane, and they just immediately pounced.
Really nice. Really nice little move there. Get themselves a big win on this safe lane, and it'll be Maureen making the first move here, and it'll be guaranteed kill on Nightfall. Overwhelming amount of damage with that magnetize.
Both junglers leaving their carries alone, and immediately get punished for it.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Though on the BetBoom side, they didn't have to rotate their mid, so...
Radiant's middle tower.
Yeah, GPK's just taking mid tower off that rotation. He's making the most of it. Doesn't want to move. He'll get a shield rune, and he'll just focus fire this tier 1 down. Force crit to respawn. So he's getting something out of this period.
7-minute Wisdom Runes coming in, but with the Earth Spirit returning back to mid, don't think anybody is going to be in a position to do any kind of steals. Rotation in from behind from Toronto Tokyo. This hero is quite the menace. It's one of the supports that is able to do an insane amount of damage as the game goes later, right? A pure damage source that doesn't run out of steam. Crazy good, but then they added this facet, which just makes it even stronger, where you're getting extra attack range when you enchant somebody. So you can enchant them from farther away and then just throw out these impetuses from super far away, doing even more damage than she did before.
Yeah, this is one of those that on paper is like, oh, yeah, that's nice, but then when you play it, it's just absurd.
Yeah.
It makes her a real menace in the early exchanges, even bigger menace in the late game team fights, especially if you can get to slaying like the Hurricane Pike. Just the range you can throw out these impetus, that is absurd.
Yeah.
Turns her into a much better like semi-carry from that support position. Not that it was necessarily bad before. Definitely helps your cause. Level 5 for the Chen. So he does have this big Hellbearer if he wants to give it. That might be one of the stolen ones. Toronto Tokyo is going to make the gank towards Maureen, so it'd be a really nice kill if they can snag it, but their lockdown is pretty limited.
Yeah.
They have to be able to catch Maureen either in the Shackle or the Calling this game to really slow him down in the fights, and maybe it's one of the reasons he opted for the Earth Spirit this game. Maybe this hero doesn't play the fights as smoothly as he used to, but just spamming the Revenants, but this facet gives him so much extra right-click damage. I would not be surprised to see more of these Earth Spirits build into some sort of right-click item or a mini attack speed item. If you get magnetized on a couple stones, it's a lot of extra damage.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think that build kind of looks like? Because right now it'd just be like Blade Mail, BKB. You're still going to get a good amount of right-clicking in with that kind of build as a core Earth Spirit.
I have no idea, but, you know, I could see like your 6 slots late game end up with maybe an AC or something in it. is a good
Yeah.
word. This hero gets really tanky. He's still one of the highest strength gains in Dota.
Yeah.
And that also helps his damage here. So if you just get a little attack speed somewhere in there, it's a lot of value by default, but it's extra value with this new facet. We're seeing him take Spark of Courage as well. So armor is very good for this hero, and
Radiant's
attack speed is now
bottom
very
tower
good.
is under attack.
There's got to be some build where you can make it all work together.
Snaking coming back through the gate to help secure Skeeter's lane once again.
Pretty slow early game here for both teams. Just farming up a lot. We see a couple tier 1 towers drop, but it is going to be GPK making this move towards bottom to try and break this static lane phase open. And he's got an amp damage rune, so Skeeter is long gone here.
Very dead, but Maureen, can he get the punish here? Try to roll after GPK. Misses that initial roll in. He's going to go for Miro instead with the enchant, but the power shot doing a healthy amount of damage, and Maureen's got to get out of here. They're going to use the Stampede, try and run down Miro, while Maureen plays it slow and just keeps on stacking up the Magnetize, but it's just not doing enough damage to get any kills out of this, and the power shot lands. GPK gets the kill on Maureen. Now they're going to hunt down the supports as well. Crit getting feared. They only need a little bit more damage, and the impetus is almost enough. Another power shot. GPK racking him up and knocking him down.
Just a perfect rotation from him off an amp damage rune that Falcons were just not ready for. You combine that with the Slaughter amp coming through on these heroes, and yeah, your Earth Spirit's tanky, but nowhere near tanky enough. And that Chen armor is only going to do so much here. Like, look at these hits coming through. I mean, Crit even dodged a few of them, but just a nasty amount of damage. And of course, whenever you can land those extra power shots, you're going to be real happy with this team fight. That's just going to push him up to a Maelstrom basically done. GPK having a hell of an early game here. And again, he is my go-to for BetBoom if they want to overcome their demons and finally beat Falcons in a series that they've never been able to accomplish here. Well, yeah. GPK might just be the thing that pushes you over the edge. He is very far up the net worth, and I think Wind Ranger is one of these heroes. Maybe nothing crazy happened to this hero, but it just became slightly better, right? Everything about her is just a little bit better, a little bit more move speed, buffs the team, and she still gives you that raw killing power on these tanky cores, which I think is a big deal this patch.
Yeah.
You're going to see so many of these heroes like the Centaur here, like these Earth Spirit. They're just tanking up. They're getting Shrouds. They're getting Hearts. You're going to have Blade Mails, triple Bracers, whatever it is. A lot more heroes can scale through the stats now than used to, which means you need raw damage at some point. You need to be able to cut these heroes down to size and actually chunk them through these stat buildups where they might have 3,000 or 4,000 HP with 70% resist. Flat spell damage is not doing it anymore. You need heroes that can scale and give you that oomph in the late game. I think Wind Ranger is one of those that can often reliably do that.
Which makes me call into question the Earth Spirit pickup. He may be a tanky hero, so he kind of fits some of the archetype right there, but damage-wise, I feel like he won't match up very well.
Well, that's the X factor, right? With the new facet, this hero is often a menace in the late game just by the fact that he out-survives you and he's continually stunning you, continually dealing these small instances of damage. You get Ashivas, you get other items that amp it up even more. He just becomes a late game menace. Most of the time he gets there. Maybe this facet pushes him over the edge. But I agree, things like Eternal Shroud, Heart, do seem tough for him to... It's going to be tough for the Centaur plus Earth Spirit here in the late game to punch through that if BetBoom can get that online. Perhaps on the Slardar here, perhaps an Ags Wind Ranger you might not be able to see. Tiny with the slow resistance, the stats resistance has got to be good. And Gyro is not... I mean, we've seen Skeeter do some ridiculous things with this hero, but in theory, Gyro is not the best single target burst damage carry.
Sure.
I don't know if that's... I mean, he can do it, but he's not necessarily designed for it. So if this game is BetBoom favored at that 30-35 minute mark, I can see those team fights being difficult for Falcons. I think they want to get something going here and start to build a bit of an advantage, particularly for Maureen and ATF. And they're going to try and do that with this Blink reveal, kill the unkillable.
Oh, the Fear Shot comes through, stalling up the Earth Spirit's damage. Amar still going to try and chase after GPK here with a Stampede. Turnaround Shackle Shot, caught him on the other side of the tower. And Nightfall actually TPs in to ensure that this fight is going to go well for BetBoom. Very nice rotation from the carry. Maureen still keeping up the damage, though. Looks like they'll pick off Toronto Tokyo. Can this magnetize bring anybody down. No. Unfortunately, the heroes are just too tanky. The Magnetize might last 10 seconds, but nobody gets low enough for Malrine to actually finish the job.
Yeah, all the damage is getting spread around here. BetBoom will take that. A blink reveal gank for Falcons that went on their mid, and GPK survives. That was also your mech hand to God, so Falcons blew a lot for that team fight. Do get the tier 1 tower, not going to be too sad about it, but not getting that big mid hero that they wanted out of that exchange and losing their Centaur to boot.
Maybe another factor of GPK's pretty deathless run of things lately. Heavy rotations to help him out when he needed it. They brought all 5 heroes at BetBoom.
They were ready for that one. Anticipated it pretty damn well.
What is it with this trend of just mass rotation of heroes? Everybody comes to the fight all the time now.
New patch, you don't know what's going on, just play together.
I felt like we saw it a lot last match too, though. Jump onto Amar, fear shot back in. Malrine actually getting stunned as he rolls into things, but the Centaur's just too tanky. BetBoom did not feel like they could get the kill fast enough.
It's hard for them to man up on ATF right now because of the blade mail threat. Same with Malrine. Like, GPK cannot commit a focus fire into these heroes. He's just going to kill himself.
Right.
So that's something that they're going to have to figure out, and it will just be second item BKB from GPK to open up those opportunities. I like it. Like, maybe you'd rather be able to go something else here, but there's just no way for him to give BetBoom the damage they need versus these double blade mail, unless he can man up through them. BKB guarantees that. It's also like a mini stat damage item for the universal hero, so
I think that's the crazy part about BKB is that it's like still pretty good stats for so many heroes, right? It gives you damage and then it gives you strength, which a lot of heroes, you know, like for in this example, Wind Ranger's universal, so she's still getting extra damage out of those stats as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Still a very good item. No doubt about it.
We're gonna pop this Enchantress real quick. Take her out of the thing. I guess another note is that Falcons don't have any BKB piercing disables outside of the Bash, I guess.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Thinking of Slardar. They're on the same team. So they have no BKB piercing disables, right? So if the Wind Ranger gets BKB, she could just run down the Gyrocopter, which is kind of her job in team fights, right?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. GPK can be a big problem for Falcons here with this early BKB timing. There's not much counterplay they have other than you divine favor the guy and heal him up, which is annoying. Shen can be really annoying in these single target burst scenarios.
Yeah.
There's a lot of armor being built on the side of Falcons. But ideally, they want to get some control for him later. Some Dispels, some Abyssals, I don't know, something to help find this Wind Ranger back in the fight. Maybe Malrine just rolling in is enough to catch him. Might be able to rely on that. And he is going to Sange and Yasha here. So likes the extra move and attack speed.
Okay. Maybe this is where Spirit's able to push through on these tankier heroes, is through the right-click damage that he's been given. Big push coming in the bottom lane. BetBoom not really responding. So looks like this tower could be for free.
I mean, something to keep in mind is something like Sange and Yasha on this hero is it is some extra farming speed as well. This hero doesn't really just clear waves off his spells alone, so speeding up the process with which you finish off a creep wave or finish off a neutral camp can add up over the course of a game. Move speed's never bad. I can kind of get behind it. And you're just going to have ATF building into the armor items here. Shivas, Lotus, Shard on the menu. Lotus and Shivas are going to be huge in this game if you can get them on multiple heroes. Any sort of armor deficit you can make up against Nero is going to feel good. And that Roshan is still sitting there. Got to be thinking about it soon if you're BetBoom, because you could be doing it. You're probably waiting for the Wind Ranger BKB to force that fight. The Slardar Eternal Shroud would also allow you to do that.
Making a jump onto the squirrel, crit. Silence immediately afterwards. Power shot comes through. The Chen heals, though, is enough. Even if they land that shackle shot, it's too deep for BetBoom to dive. They know that Falcons is likely to punish any sort of overextension. So
look at this move. Stampede and Hand of God on cooldown. They got something out of that go. But Falcons will wisely back off. Or will they?
Oh, they're going to catch him in the river, perhaps.
Oh, he blinked back?
He blinked backwards.
Was that intentional? There's no way.
There's no way. With the supports chasing like this, they wanted to make the move, but the supports are on the front line, and Malrine sees that as an opportunity, but he just gets caught by the Wind Ranger, so he trades his life for a support. Not the best. GPK might take some damage here. The shot lands onto Toronto Tokyo instead. He already pre-popped the heal.
Can we get a replay of that shackle? That was insanely fast. He hit him on the Hellbear, I think, so the convert betraying Malrine in this fight. He just rolls straight into his death.
Radiant's bottom tower
And again,
is
the
under
lockdown
attack.
for BetBoom is you kind of have to catch his Earth Spirit in a long-duration shackle or the calling. Yeah, that blink was very unfortunate, but this is just a super heads-up shackle from GPK.
I could almost guarantee he clicked on the minimap.
We got feared out by save and then max shackle range. That's a nice little pickup for them.
Back into the game, looks like Falcons strike a bit of revenge, but again, supports that they're picking off, not cores.
And you have to keep in mind the Chen differential here. There's a reason Chen is still a first pick hero, especially for Falcons, is they like to get their supports farmed, and this is probably the best farming support in Dota. No question about it.
Yeah.
Another reason I thought maybe this Hellbear has some value, like it does clear waves a bit faster than some of the other creeps, while still giving you a buff. Could be an interesting idea. Nonetheless,
oh, that's a sneaky move.
Oh yeah, this is nice.
I was just about to complain about the fact that, you know, BetBoom have Roshan taking capabilities, but Falcons are the one always controlling the Roshan area, right? They were controlling up the top side during nighttime. Now they're controlling the bottom right part of the map here.
They can also force the Rosh. That's why I brought it up early, is if you're BetBoom, you might have to think about it earlier than you want to in this game, because if you ignore it for a while, I think at some point Falcons are just going to go in the pit with the Chen army. They're just going to do it in front of your face. And they're not going to shy away from that 5-on-5, because their lineup is built for it. And this time might have just come. Like, okay, you're not going to fight us. We're camping our ward. Time to do Rosh with some penitence and some creeps.
In which case, that's why I like BetBoom's moves so much, is that, like, if you're not going to take that fight, if you feel like the 5-on-5 is too tough and Falcons is camping the part of the map where Roshan is, then, you know, min-max things would be taking the Tormentor away from them, right? That's 2,800 gold advantage that you're getting over Falcons.
I think they'd rather have Roshan than Tormentors here, but I agree. If you don't feel confident taking that 5-on-5, you better get some advantage somewhere else. And they got 2 shards in exchange for it. So honestly, I guess one could argue 2 shards is worth more than this first Aegis in a lot of situations.
Yeah, 100%.
This first Aegis is not that good usually unless you can really push with it. Now the question here is, you do have this Chen Gyro lineup. We've seen Falcons really snowball games with this. You have a lot of net worth on this Chen. Is this an Aegis you can use to go high ground potentially very early in this game? We're seeing some earlier high grounds here.
Yep.
If you're Falcons, you really want to get value out of this exchange, you'd want to be taking some tier 2 heroes, maybe threatening the high ground. Not that you necessarily commit to the high ground, but if you bring BetBoom back, you're at least getting some farm advantage on the map. Because right now, BetBoom, they got a decent amount out of this period. Double Tormentor into farming the map. Got 2 or 3
across, spotting some heroes, blinking on GPK, attempted to, goes for the Tiny. Now that's a nice little crush, lined up with this Focus Fire, doing a lot of damage, but he's got to be careful of that Blade Mail, and that's why GPK has to back away. Malrine, he's some heroes are low, he's got this nice magnetize. Oh, the shot from Crid, attempted to assassinate GPK, but he lives on just like 10 HP.
Oh, GPK showing us why this tournament has been so damn good for him. He plays that fight absolutely perfectly. Double long duration shackle on 2 cores, BKB, to ignore the blade mails. It just turns that all around for BetBoom and still manages to survive through the magnetize at the end with single digit HP. Still, we're seeing the single target turnaround this Chen can provide for Falcons right now, and why they're confident to go in these fights, even if they're not going their way. Like, you man up on this first target with your Slardar Amp, your Tiny Combo, your Focus Fire. He's half HP with Divine Favor and heals.
Yeah.
So that part of the problem has not been figured out by BetBoom yet. Falcons still have some tempo here. Aiming towards this tier 2 would be a nice little pickup.
Try and kill the wave, but I don't think there's anything stopping Falcons from grabbing the tier 2s they want with this Aegis. 3 minutes left on it.
And in fact, Nightfall, he just committed for second BKB here on the Tiny. Not even going for that Shadowblade Silver Edge first. Maybe recognizing that there aren't going to be as many pickoffs if Falcons are just going to group this game.
Yeah.
And needs BKB for the entry into the fight. Still probably not the order of build-up he would have preferred in a game that was running completely smooth for him. But Falcons don't give you easy choices. Still have Aegis for 2.5 here.
Dude, they are dismantling these smoke ganks. It's just not working for Falcons that well. Now, with the Gale Force pushing them back into play, they're going to try and play this out, but they're going into an Aegis. So Falcons, they're going to play this, waiting for the second life of the gyrocopter. Can they help Skeeter out here? He's going to be chased down by the focus fire. They pop the Stampede to try and get him out, but the shackle shot toss him in the air, and he's dead. Now looking for more, but a play forward. Miro tanks it. Maureen can't roll away. Now he's going to get crushed on another block shot. He is just not letting Maureen roll away, but they need the damage to follow it up, and finally it's coming. The last shot in for the impetus will land, and that's good enough. Meanwhile, the Magnetize fails to get a single kill as BetBoom push through it all. Are they going to get a Rampage crit? He does still have his ultimate here. Might give him that extra bit of mobility he needs to get away from Miro, but Miro gets the bash, now the crush. That'll be just a total team wipe.
5-0 there, and that was the Aegis push by Falcons. The Skeeter just didn't get to play Dota in this fight. The BKBs, like we said, there's no control for them. It just guarantees a man up on that second life. And I mean, MVP of this fight is Miro for sure. He had double roll block into a double core stun, even finds the hoodwink at the end. Just some really nice aggressive gameplay from the Slardar, setting a lot of this team fight up. That Magnetize did a lot, but a lot is sometimes not enough. There is, what would have you done to have a Shivas in that fight to amp it all up?
Yeah.
You're just a little behind in this game, and it has cost you a lot if you are Falcons right now. You are 10K down after that team fight, and you did not get the value out of that Aegis, which means BetBoom super happy with their macro decisions in this game so far.
I'm very happy with the discipline that we're seeing out of them, right? The really good job that they're doing positioning to break smokes. GPK is just going to pop the BKB just to make sure.
He's not even going to risk some Centaur stun coming through.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will be the AC for the Earth Spirit.
All right.
There you go. I mean, it's like, well, you know, what else can you build that gives you that little attack speed and tanks you up? It's AC. You already have a Shivas on the Centaur. We haven't really been able to see him get the aggressive sort of team fight he's wanted out of this Earth Spirit buildup. Doesn't mean it can't happen. However, Shadowblade done for Nightfall. He's going into Daedalus. He's going to start hitting hard, man. And the concern, I think, for Falcons here is not, okay, if we get our Earth Spirit Centaur to like ultra late, okay, maybe these builds can come together, but is Skeeter going to have any sort of momentum going into these ultra late game fights versus overwhelming single target burst, which is usually where Gyro suffers?
Yep.
Like, you're going to get Slardar amped, you're going to get focus fired, you're going to have a tiny wailing on your ass, they're all going to be BKB'd. It's just not the type of engagement where Gyro thrives. And normally this hero does a lot of work for Falcons in building momentum, building tempo, using the Aegis, pushing the buildings. I just don't see good pathways towards Skeeter having impact in these later fights unless he can regain a net worth advantage somehow. I mean, this Slardar's about to have Eternal Shroud Ags in 4,000 HP and be sitting in a puddle. There are no easy targets in this BetBoom lineup.
Falcons, how many smokes have they gone through with no success from the outcome? Another situation where they're smoked up and they know where BetBoom is.
Yeah, you can scan him here all you want, but who's going in?
Don't want to go to that corner again. They know the high ground vision is likely there. That last fight went way too well for BetBoom not to have a high ground vision.
Toronto Tokyo, he has his Hurricane Pike. He got Enchanted Quiver off the neutral item. We're also going to see another Vindicator Axe for this Tiny. That just feels like the best neutral item for this hero. It's so damn good on every level.
Trying to chase after him. Maureen didn't make it that far. Missed out on the longer roll, and now he's going to get silenced up. Pulled back in by the Gale Force, back into the silence. A beautiful shackle that knocks down GPK. They just destroys that gyrocopter. There's nothing he could do about it. Amar tried his best to do some damage, but he's going to get kited around all that HP just to try and TP out. Doesn't even make it. Miro's there in time with the crush.
He's got all the armor in the world, but nothing to do with it. Another very one-sided team fight here for BetBoom, as they have just taken this game over. Once more, 2 core heroes shackle, including the gyro. I don't think Skeeter got to do anything in that fight.
Nope.
Nightfall just obliterated him, man. He like 2-shot him off the cleave or something.
Yep.
That was disgusting.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
One hell of a performance by GPK and Miro. Honestly, it feels like Nightfall is just kind of, you know, no disrespect for him, but he's kind of along for the ride.
Yeah,
I feel like his team is winning the game for him.
I would put it, his life has been made easy, which is, I think, that should be the goal of every Dota team. Make your carry's life easy. When your carry has an easy game, you're probably going to win. He's just been able to stroll in these fights. There's been stuns, casually pop BKB, smack a hero, he's gone. Living the dream.
Living the dream, indeed. I think one of the things I really like about this BetBoom lineup is the diversity in damage, right? Like, you have this physical damage and minus armor threat, which Falcons have obviously addressed. They want to go a bunch of armor items.
Yep.
But even then, Save, who hasn't actually scaled quite as much as we normally see his Muerta scale, but that's a big source of magic damage that scales into the late game, and the Enchanter is a big source of pure damage. So you get this armor, but you're not necessarily dealing with what the supports are doing to you, and GPK, half of his damage is going to be magic as well.
There's a lot to contend with here. I mean, I think in some ways you have the survivability in a way on this Falcons lineup, but I just don't see the damage output coming through. I think that's the bigger problem for them. They do have the Shivas now to help buff up some of that. They're just going to need to land some clutch stunts. You need some good bushwhacks, some good centaur stomps to land. This might be the window into it with the high ground.
Yeah, BetBoom going to break on the low ground here, throw out a ward. Amar tries to jump in. Nero does the same. They manage to find Crit here. Over there in the corner, gets healed up. He's going to be okay for now. What a shot from Skeeter, though. Big ultimate, big flat cannon shots. Everybody's getting low. And BetBoom running out of time here as now they're ticking down to all the Magnetize. A roll in from Malrine. Snatches save up. Miro somehow doesn't die to the tick damage. And GPK is going to be left behind. He went for the kill on Skeeter. But this time around, the clump of Falcons was too strong to contend with.
It's just really good positioning from Falcons, and I'm surprised BetBoom pushed into it like that.
Yeah.
They put both of their cores on the front line to try and get the initial stun with the starter, but it only landed on the hoodwink behind a tree. And that is just not good enough with ATF on the front line, not a target you want to go on. Very strong formation from Falcons, and finally, Skeeter gets to play a team fight. And that's a huge deal. He dealt the most damage here. You're going to see the Slardar stun just not land. Nightfall commits in, but you're going on crit, and he's nowhere near dead. What even? It looked like they got shackled there or something.
It was a bushwhack, a late bushwhack.
Yeah, but
crit.
He didn't get pulled to the tree.
Yeah, it might have been just a little bit of funkiness with that corner area.
That was a massive stun there. Falcons just set that team fight up beautifully, and now they got second Aegis. Not an Aegis BetBoom wanted to give up.
Where's my pension?
That's gonna be Banner plus second life for Skeeter. Regained some life in this game. Still have to respect Chen. This is not a hero that you can ever assume you're just ahead on. So much single target armor buff up from Snaking with Solar Crest, Divine Favor, Greaves. It's almost like you want to commit on a target and then switch it up once the buffs come out.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, easier said than done, but
it is funny how it feels like there is no initiator's advantage. You know what I mean?
yes, every fight has been won by the defender this game.
Yeah, and I think part of that is the tankiness of these heroes, right? If you are Falcons and you're walking into Slardar, who's in his puddle, or like the Enchantress or something, you're going to have a hard time killing that hero fast enough. And you just are naturally going to get like clumped up or something, or the enemy team is going to, get vision of your heroes, and they're going to be able to pick their entrance into the fight like GPK was able to do multiple times.
I mean, both these teams also just want their formation to last throughout the fight.
Yeah.
Like, both these teams want their backline protected because they're really important to what they're trying to do. I'd say even more so for Falcons, protecting this Chen and Hoodwink is just monumental to the fight lasting long enough and buffing up their cores. So when the fight goes into them, they're way happier in that situation. There's no real huge backline jump from BetBoom. Like, they kind of just have to go on who they see, and that's worked out so far because you can just BKB commit in and there's no control for those BKBs, but they're getting worn down a bit here. You need these Daedalus up to make sure you can kill somebody in that BKB duration, because if they get saved, they get healed up, that fight no longer looks as favorable for you, and double armor items for these frontline boys are up. Your Shivas is done, your AC is done. Even more armor added into the equation. You're gonna need this amp damage rune in the next fight.
Yep.
You're gonna need this tiny Daedalus. Tanky heroes are scary, man. Like, you just don't know where the damage thresholds are anymore. Do you have enough damage to kill this Earth Spirit if he rolls in and he's buffed up? I have no idea. Like, when was the last time you saw Earth Spirit with Assault Cuirass, right? He has 70% physical resist.
Entering into uncharted territory.
Very hard to judge these things.
Right-click Earth Spirit.
I don't think so.
Falcons got a lot of really big items here in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it feels like BetBoom realize that and know that they have to wait for their next set of items, their next bit of scaling. Like the Daedalus on GPK is going to add a lot. It seems like Nightfall feels like it's more important. Maybe this goes to what you were saying. The backline is so important. He's going to go back for a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, maybe just wants to get in there immediately with the Slardar Crush. Yep. First target's down. They know their window is maybe lower in the fight than Falcons is. Gonna get some tower damage in. I mean, Swift Blink in theory is also very good on this hero.
True.
It's not as if you're giving up a scaling item here. And Aegis will get Falcons some time, some net worth, and tier 2. They will not get that fight out of it, but that was probably too much to ask for.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And it was like over 15 minutes ago, Falcons had that first Roshan. I thought they were going to take all the tier 2s. And then they took that one team fight where they lost Skeeter twice, but now they're back on track with another Aegis. Take the remaining tier 2s. Are they ever going to go high ground with this, or are they going to be content to keep going this late? In which case, Avery, do you favor one of these teams if we start looking at a 50-minute game?
50 minutes, I'd still give it to BetBoom. But if we go like 80 or 70, I think it gets really weird for them. I think 6-slotted Earth Spirit is just a very strange hero. You don't get to play against it a lot, but it does wacky things. And you have all these Chen buffs behind him. I can see maybe you start to run out of sustain damage in those late game team fights when there's a bunch of buybacks. These hearts could come online for Falcons, which are a big deal because hearts on these heroes that can engage and disengage. You have Stampede, you have the roll in and the roll out. You throw a couple 4 staffs or something on top of that, and suddenly maybe you deal 4,000 damage to this Centaur Earth Spirit. They disengage, they heal back up, in 10 seconds they're back in the fight with 4,000 HP.
Yeah.
That's a big problem for a lineup that relies on Focus Fire number 1, relies on BKBs number 2, and needs things to go right in that starting interval of the fight. We saw this tiny struggle in those late game fights for Ame yesterday.
Oh, they are circling around each other right now. Whose smoke is gonna break first? Who's gonna take that blink initiation? It's gonna be Amar. Of course it's Amar.
Well, they found the back line.
Nightfall hits the back line beautifully with Miro. They're going for Skeeter right now. Skeeter's fighting through with the Life Steal that's coming up for the Satanic, but GPK does not run out of damage, nor does Nightfall. They lay into the Gyrocopter. Combined, all 3 cores will finish them off. Still, though, they're low and limping away after that fight with the Gyrocopter. They've already killed the offlaner. Now they're going for Nightfall as well, and they've got both of them. GPK will slip away into the night, yes, but Amar and Malrine and their tanky heroes were able to win the fight after the Gyro died.
I mean, Skeeter, he got melted at the end there, but he did work for Falcons here. He did the most damage in that fight by far. It was not even close. Just flacked everybody down. Oh, nice little find by GPK. He can't get him.
Oh no!
Oh, Solar Crest saving lives.
He knew the Centaur and Earth Spirit are very mobile. He knows they're going to come in and try and bail out Snake King. He did not want to overstay his welcome, but he just needed to stay another quarter of a second.
Or get a couple more crits, but...
Or a little bit more luck.
Greaves armor coming into play as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 50 armor when he Divine Favors himself. It's just not an easy target. It's just the Chen problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when you're talking about the super late game, I was like, surely, like, Chen's going to fall off in comparison to Muerta Enchantress, but then I remembered he really does just give an absurd amount of armor.
Yeah, I don't know if Chen ever falls off. Look at this creep go. He's living the best life he's ever had.
That's right.
What?
I don't know, but they jumped in off of that one, and now they're going to Gale Force into the tier 4s. They really thought they were going to catch Miro. Miro gets the crush at the same time. Malrine pushing forward, though. GPK, oh, the fountain! He pops a Fairy Fire! He dropped an item into his backpack, had a Courier Fairy out of Fairy Fire for an extra little bonus.
It just doesn't matter, though. Damage is done. They get what they came for.
They're going to try and kill the army here somehow. The barracks still alive. Skeeter comes in. Okay, I'll finish that off, but... is this an opportunity? They tried to jump in. Nightfall got off the BKB and got a toss back onto Malrine.
Nice toss.
So they do get a pick off in exchange for that lane of barracks. Can they chase for more?
I mean, they're low on the Slardar, but you would love to get something else here.
Yeah, they'll get Snake King. Maybe not ideal, but it's something.
Toronto Tokyo starting to deal some damage. The thing is, it's going to be hard for him to scale his damage up for the burst situations that a lot of these fights are revolving around, but he is doing a decent amount of consistent over the fight.
I mean, that's it. Falcons did force that around the Roshan time. Roshan, it's a fast Roshan, but still, they did force that.
Does ATF expect this? He always expects it.
Radiant's courier has been
This guy is just way too fast, man.
You gotta give the cheeky smiley. Somebody check the Roshan pit. I don't know what's up, but they're on the wrong side of the map to do it, so.
That was such a fast blink.
Dire are
Such a
scanning.
fast double smiley. I mean, that all started also with ATF blinking into a Slardar crush. Which you are not going to get probably ever again in this game.
Oh, the scan catches just at the right time. Right as Skeeter is farming his way back through the jungle, and I thought maybe Crit would get picked off instead. They do go for the Roshan, though. This is where we finally get to see this Slardar in action. Give you a very fast Roshan when the opening is there.
This is a big deal. I mean, it's one thing to have 2 lives on Nightfall, but it's another to take the 2 lives away from Skeeter, which is one of the factors that won him that fight on mid. Led to them regaining a lot of the momentum in this game. It feels like both these carries just kill each other in the fight, so whoever has the second life is better off.
Yeah.
And we're going to see Ancient Guardian for the time. Even more damage.
Toronto Tokyo is trying to solve some damage issues, though. Man's
He
going
is,
a
yeah.
moon shard.
It's just you can't, like, the problem is he's going to do more damage over the long duration, but you can't scale Enchantress's burst damage. It's capped.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest issue here. Is like, how do you improve your situation for BetBoom in going on these heroes and killing them fast? Because you don't want them to get out. You don't want the heals to come out for them to just start regenning up. We're seeing these hearts start to come out. Earth Spirits was finished here. This regen's going to be a big deal if you can just survive. Triple Rattle Cage across the board here for Falcons as the armor continues to grow.
I love that.
Just armor on armor on armor on armor.
Yeah, you can kind of... I don't know if it's a wise influence. I mean, you still have Skeeter and Snake King, but, you know, just a general Tundra influence of, like, they identify when an item is good, we're all going to rock it.
I mean, they're all on the same page, right?
We're all going to go this one neutral item.
Unity is stronger than 5 different ideas. Their idea is to survive right now, whereas BetBoom, you can see it in their itemization. They are just taking every extra bit of damage they can get. Double Ancient Guardian, double Mindbreaker here, AC done for Miro, Moonshard for the Enchantress, double Daedalus, Swift Blink done for Nightfall. It's all damage. It's all designed to burst these heroes down. When you can land those crushes and get the amp through, a second heart will come out for ATF, so they eventually got to the double heart timing. This is a big testing point for BetBoom in this game, as we're going to see Falcons. They're confident enough to smoke into this Aegis.
running straight up
5,000
to the high
HP.
ground. GPK gonna be the one that spotted and couldn't get off the BKB. Stunned once, and you're dead.
Dude, this Centaur is cooking, man. He's got so much EHP. It's ridiculous. And he doesn't need the boot slot. That's the ridiculous part.
Yeah, that.
He can carry a gem now. He got to Lotus too. Like, I don't know what you do to that man. I mean, you have to have Nightfall just wail on him for 10 seconds in a fight. And there's no way you want to go on him first. So ATF is going to play hyper aggressive here. He's just going to want to start anything on anybody he can get.
They really want to go for Amar here. Tried to go for the toss back, missed the toss opportunity, and missed the crush follow-up.
I mean, that might have been good for them, honestly. I don't know if that's the target you want to start the fight on.
Trying to assassinate the golem to take away some of that big HP, but Toronto Tokyo just gets himself killed. Save has to pop his ultimate to deal with the flat cannon shots, and there goes Aegis already. GPK goes for the gyrocopter though, couldn't quite get him. BKB and Wind running away now, but Amar's gonna try and chase after him. Slowed down, Nightfall gonna be kicked and missiled. They got one of the buildings, but a glyph goes out. Reset from Falcons. No Enchantress, so they still have the advantage here. He took away the Aegis from Nightfall. They're feeling good about this situation. How does BetBoom take this fight?
I don't know, man. I just don't see an opening. There's too much survivability here. You have to find the Chen. I don't think you have or toss back, maybe. I guess you can try and toss back a core and just burst him really deep in the base. Yeah, or maybe the supports can't bail him out.
That's what they wanted to do with Amar earlier.
Nightfall is just killing himself, though. The blade mails to retaliate.
And Amar is just going to keep on forcing the issue. Shackle shot. Gleipnir follow-up. Nightfall gets the toss back out of the gyrocopter. Can they kill him? Oh, he got the focus fire return. He's doing a lot of damage back into him. And Save and GPK are not enough to burst through Skeeter. Skeeter's damage is too much to handle. BetBoom missed their timing, I guess. They just get outscaled by raw HP. Falcons take game one.
Just too slow. I think there's a window they can win that game, and they know it, but that's the problem with these Chen.
And BetBoom going for some interesting stuff here, Avery. I mean, they picked up the Mirana, and I thought, surely, of course, you're going to go the regular Moonlight Shadow Mirana. Toronto Tokyo went for the Solar Flare Mirana. I don't know how I feel about this. This is going to be interesting, right? I feel like this is a risk. I feel like this is a pretty big risk. Taking something like this from the support position, the Solar Flare, which gives you more attack speed when you pop it, and then also gives your allies more attack speed, which could be really good, right? Could be very, very good with Slordar and Tiny specifically. But, you know, obviously Moonlight Shadow is like a crazy amount of utility for Mirana, and it's interesting that he's willing to throw that away.
I mean, in theory, the spell is pretty powerful. You get a lot of vision in the fight, and you're just getting like a mini troll ult plus mini precision aura. Sounds pretty good on paper.
Nightfall, not a great start for BetBoom. They're going to get run down. They're going to make sure they give the first blood over to Malrine. So that matchup already going to get difficult for GPK as Malrine has the extra gold. He did indeed go the Corrosive Dragon, which is, again, as the panel said, probably what you're going to be expecting to see out of these mid-Dragonites. That way they can take all the towers. If you do safe lane Dragonite, you might take the Red Dragon, where you have to cleave, but this mid one, definitely a little bit more active. Meanwhile, Malrine went for Dynamo, which is this like spell amp, the more damage you have. So when you get into these fights and you start draining somebody a bunch of damage, it means that your other spells in Plasma Field and Eye of the Storm are going to start doing more damage as well, which is pretty interesting for sure.
Feels like Falcons just want to build an insurmountable block going in these late game scenarios. They just want these heroes to scale out of control, have these little scaling mechanisms, and just create a situation where you can't take the 5-on-5s in the late game. They're just going to overwhelm you.
Yep.
it seems to be working for them. And BetBoom have yet to really crack that. And panel mentioned this is a very similar draft setup to last game where you're kind of committed in that burst situation. You have to go in with your cores, with the Slaughter Amp, with the Tiny, and kill someone in that time period to really make this lineup function on all levels. See some Shadow Servant as well. Maybe you can get some illusions, but I don't really see anybody's illusion doing an insane amount of work here.
Yeah, if they were matched up against like a Luna or something like that, I could see that. That was another thing I wanted to reference in the list of things that are risky. And the fact that I just don't know if they're going to be successful or not is this one. Because the other one is the Promulgate, which it just means to disseminate. The enemy loses 15% of their current HP, and then gets it back over time. It's kind of that old Shadow Demon spell. I feel like percentage-based damage is always good to have in this meta of tanky heroes. That I feel like that certainly would have been the safer option that Save could have gone for.
I mean, why go for the safe options when you need to do something to disrupt what's happening in this series? Because you just can't beat this team. So you gotta be creative and try some different stuff. Thinking will go down, though. I have seen this Lich be a lot more sustaining on lane than I expected reading the change. Like, you do end up getting a decent amount of mana back just from the creeps randomly dying around you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So his laning phase seems pretty strong. We'll see him go down there, however, as the combo is just too powerful. Mid lane, GPK, winning it again. 2 points up in the Dragon's Blood. He is chilling for the most part, and probably will continue to chill in this matchup. Don't really see Malrine pressuring him other than, okay, you can link him up, but he's just beating you back.
Yeah, look at him, man. Doesn't care if you take his damage away.
The extra corrosive damage really adds up in these laning phases. Maybe you're a little weaker than last time in terms of sustain, but you're way stronger in terms of the damage output. I mean, it's hard to imagine finding a hero that beats Dragon Knight in these mid one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Heroes has so much going for him.
It's crazy to me that the Corrosive Dragon effect is buffed by your passive. Right? Like a lot of these innate abilities and stuff that like the scaling is usually based around the ultimate. But part of this for the Corrosive Dragon is based around so his passive, which he's going to be maxing out. So that's, I think, a big reason why he was doing so much damage to the Razor.
Also, the fact you get it off your normal auto attacks is a pretty big deal for these laning phases where you don't even have your 6 yet. You're still getting value out of it. See the Water Rune get snatched up here. I kind of like the Solar Flare idea, honestly. On paper, it seems very good for lineups like this, where you want extra attack speed and damage on all of your cores. Like, this has got to be one of the better lineups to utilize that spell. And the thing about the spell is you still get the talents that you get for Moonlight Shadow, only they're on Solar Flare now. So your Solar Flare that lasts 14 seconds, which is a long time, is also giving you the 20% evasion. It's also getting the cooldown reduction. So in theory, this like team-wide buff does a lot in the 5-on-5 fight.
Okay. It also has... Is it a longer cooldown than Moonlight Shadow? I don't remember.
I don't know. It might be like 10 seconds longer or something like that. This spell just does a lot by the time you get the talents. And for 14 seconds, that is long enough to commit into a team fight and get a lot of value out of it. So yeah, you lose some invis, but honestly, for a lineup like this, you don't care as much about the invis because you're going to have initiation sources that are pretty reliable. You're going to have scouting mechanisms off illusions, things like that. I'm really interested to see the value in the fight.
It's the same cooldown as Moonlight Shadow.
Yo, nothing lost. They're going to look towards the DK level 6. Get that dragon up. GPK has it. He has level advantage over Malrine here. Played this lane very well, and BetBoom want to use it. They have all the vision around mid as well. Double sentry drop, double obs drop. They see everything around here. Tough area for Falcons to contest. And do you even contest it? I mean, Malrine just went the base to heal to try and get resources to deal with this push that's coming. But this seems kind of unstoppable. I don't think you really have the firepower to rebuke this push. And if Malrine comes back there, he might just die. I think he's like pinging it out. He kind of knows he's just walking out for base. Nothing he can do about this push. But once more, GPK creates a big early game advantage for his team.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Can they translate it into something more though? Because he definitely ran out of steam in that game 1.
Yeah.
Dire's middle tower
Do you think Dragon Knight runs out of steam now, this new one? Because you're still going to get the Ag, so you're still going to get the Black Dragon.
I don't know. It's hard to know. That last Dragon Knight version was absolutely insane in the late game. I imagine some of the same characteristics apply.
Yeah, so you don't get the magic resistance anymore, but you get more damage.
But yeah, so that's the thing. He's a better carry in terms of damage up, but he's a worse frontliner. Yeah. You also don't get this frost attack on the Black Dragon, plus like the corrosion and all of that, which makes him a lot worse at kiting heroes out in the late game. I feel like it's slightly weaker.
He's certainly weaker in some other things. There was like, they took away the damage over time on the illusions for the dragon or something like that.
I mean, his illusions don't proc any of the bursts anymore.
Right.
Which is also a big nerf.
Yeah.
So that late game like Black Dragon shenanigan version is gone.
Yeah, no more sieging the high ground in one of the dumbest ways.
And there's the arrow flank. Does land, but you have the damage to finish him off? You don't.
No, you don't. Stampede just means Malrine is going to get a whole lot of damage out of save. Turn that damage back around onto Toronto Tokyo. Double kill for Malrine. As you got to feel for GPK. He's been keeping a clean series and did a lot in that game 1, but unfortunately some of that advantage getting lost in the side lanes.
Yeah, that is a support rotation that does not work out at all and throws a decent amount of that advantage BetBoom were creating back into the Falcons' hands off a nice Razor teleport. Look at the damage coming out, man.
Eesh.
That thing hurts. This corrosion in the early game is definitely strong. You can play around it. Once more, BetBoom are going to their Dragon Knight. Can you find the opening here with the disruption into the arrow? Find Skeeter again. Can't gap close him. Defensive gameplay from Falcons here on point.
You can see off of the aggression from BetBoom, not able to stack nearly as much.
R has some all chat already ready for the 10-minute mark here. Though I'm not sure why. This lane is
a great conductor.
Probably the least exciting lane in the game. There's nothing happening down here except 2 heroes killing creeps.
Yeah, they're just whacking away.
Guess ATF didn't like that CS. Little stack invasion.
Maybe that's the exact right time to all chat.
Yeah.
Create that confusion. Why is he talking to me? What did I do?
I don't think Nightfall. I think BetBoom have these guys muted at this point.
Dire's middle
I feel like everybody has Falcons muted.
Not us, apparently. It's getting out CS a bit.
Triple bracer.
Yeah,
again.
Same build as last game. Makes sense to me. Little downside to it anymore.
Oh, got the Dragon Tail, but now the arrow's going to be blocked as Malrine comes in. Stampede once again put to use, slowing down GPK. Disruption's going to go out, but Skeeter. Falcons just bringing all 5 heroes to make sure when they go for a specific target, something that's really dangerous like this Dragon Knight, they make sure they have enough firepower to bring it down.
I missed the bushwhack there, but yeah, it's just an outnumbering again, and it's GPK getting punished. Like, BetBoom were trying to play through him, but these moves feel a little forced, and there's no tower here. Like, why not bring the Dragon Knight top and take the fight into the tier 1? Or at least you're going to get some tier 1 damage if it goes wrong. You're just fighting in an open area for nothing. Skeeter, he's happy to join these kind of fights because he's a gyrocopter. He has the passive for the move speed. He can do some work in these early engagements just with the barrage. He's not missing out as long as the supports give him some stacks later. I don't know, it's felt a little forced for BetBoom around this mid lane. And GPK, who gave him a big opening, had an advantage. Most of that's gone by now.
Toronto Tokyo trying way too hard to save a siege wagon. Understandable that he wants to start getting damage on these towers. BetBoom, they did not close out the game fast enough, I guess, in game one. I didn't expect their late game to be as one-sided against them as it was. I thought they had a little bit more power. But
I think there's something about Tiny where you kind of have to hit the window with this hero. Or it feels like he's just falling off in the ultra late. Like, he gets the 2 or 3 hits in the ultra late fight, but it's not enough to kill the hero, and then he struggles to play the long, drawn-out engagements.
Sure, he's such a burst-oriented hero that once you get past 35 minutes, heroes are getting 4,000 HP, and
maybe he just needs more buffs on the team, like more Solar Crests and IO Tether, I don't know, something like that to help him play those longer fights. But we've seen multiple times now this tournament where these Tinies, they're 10-1, 10-2, owning the game, and then all of a sudden you get to this point where it's just not enough damage anymore.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And you get kited once, your BKB wears out, and you're in trouble. Maybe Solar Flare is the answer.
maybe. Save, taking the time to even out the stack advantage that Falcons had. Not for anybody else, though. Just for himself. Meanwhile, Falcons putting all that gold onto their cores. Little pick off here in mid lane. Crit trying to hold that mid lane and get whatever farm he can.
Something goes right for GPK here.
Yeah, it had to. I mean, first Blink Dagger reveal's got to do something for you.
Make it work. There's something for the Dragon Knight because he's not getting these stacks. And his Tiny is just farming up, so you're not going to go with that Midas Dragon Knight or something like that. You better make these moves work. I'm still looking towards that top tower for BetBoom. That is the natural focus point. You're going to try and accelerate this game more off the Dragon Knight, which I think is how you want to play this Corrosion Facet version.
Yeah, I guess they're going to wait until Blink Dagger is up on Sloradar.
It just feels a little slow. I think there's a world you can go up here and, you know, you jump this Lich, take him out of the fight first. There's not a lot of spell damage you're too worried about, I think. Instead, it's Falcons making the first move.
Yeah, they catch Miro as he tries to back off from that attempt to kill on Sneaking in the river. I think he had the read that Falcons was trying to fight, but just didn't get out fast enough, and Amar strikes first with his Blink.
14-minute Wisdom Rune spawning. Move, put them in a position to contest it, and they should be able to get it here.
Yeah, Nightfall's making a run for it on the other side of the map right now. He even throws out the scan on the tier 2 to see if anybody's going to TP in. So looks like they'll still be able to get a trade, though it does cost Nightfall a hefty amount of time where he was wanting to farm, I'm sure.
Costing BetBoom some momentum here. Falcons make some good smoke plays. And now you're going to rotate that Dragon Knight to top. This felt like the inevitable play. They're going to come at a heavy price as Falcons cores have recovered in this game pretty nicely. ATF at the top, where one might come to have expected him. He already has Blink Blade Mail. He is absurdly farmed on this Centaur.
Standard Amar things at this point.
They gave Skeeter the last hit on the tower. What a nice sacrificial offlane.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Probably had to beg and plead to get that one.
It's probably in his contract. Sure.
As the TI winner, I get to claim the last hit on any tower.
Yeah, you know, I'll play with you, ATF, but you have to give me all the tower last. You're too greedy.
See, that's the sort of thing we're talking about. More of these orgs need more managers in that regard.
Yeah. What kind of last hit deal can you get me on this squad? Still a very even match here across the board. But you are getting these early Blink Daggers up on the Slaughter and the Dragon Knight. You'd want to be using them at a bit faster pace. Like, ATF has his, but I don't think he minds farming. You saw how well he scaled in that game 1 with the Centaur. It feels like he's just gearing up for a similar situation. Will be the smoke from BetBoom to try and break this stalemate open. They're going all the way back to top, but if you get caught here first...
Are scanning.
Well, they scanned the Razor. They got scanned mid by the Razor, so this move mid fails, and it's Falcons trying to find the rest of the heroes. Or does it fail?
Nope, not quite. Dragon Tail into Arrow. Gets the pick off on Maureen. They're still going to jump for the Shadow Demon kill, though. Save gets off the Purge, and Disruption before he dies here. Double Edge should finish him off. Can that Purge lead into BetBoom chasing down these heroes? After all, they have the Dragon form, want to make use of it. Get the quick kill on the Lich. The shot goes out, though. Breaking the Dragon Knight, made a little bit squishier, but nothing Amar can really take advantage of with all his magic damage. So he just has to back away and leave his supports to die.
Ends up being a very good sequence for BetBoom. I did not think that mid play was going to work after Maureen scanned it and just sat in Nurse 2, but they had the better ward, scouted him in that little crevice, and able to make it work. Slimmest of margins, that's a huge kill to get this Razor, who is recovering pretty well in this game. Every time you can set the Razor back, it means his ability to just man up in the fight versus the DK and try and get a long link goes down. All of a sudden, GPK, he's 2,000 ahead. That is the kind of move you were looking for with this Dragon Knight Blink Dagger.
Yeah.
You also get this deep vision out.
Oh, the Manta is almost done. The creep is in the way. Made things awkward for that arrow. Trunks Tokyo could throw it out right away.
That arrow hitting Snaking might have just saved Nero. Couldn't walk up and get the pull.
Yeah. So now the Manta is done for the Razor, which adds a lot. Potentially being able to disjoint Dragon Tail when the initiation comes through, getting rid of the Corrosive Haze.
Falcons grouping once more. They're ready to fight. BetBoom aren't going to give it to him. You force the issue. Are you willing to just push into enemy triangle here blind? How strong does Amar think he is? Well, he probably always thinks he's strong.
GPK, he's going to jump first, though, right next to the tower. It feels like with the combination of vision and the tower, this should be a fight they take, but BetBoom do not bring any other cores to it, so Falcons are just pushed back, but not really take advantage of the situation.
Dire's bottom tower is
Now
under
they're
attack.
going to smoke up and chase after Falcons here. A sandwich as Miro's going to find the Lich, and the other trio's going to run into Crit. Now they didn't finish off either one of them just yet, but surely one's going to die. It's going to be Crit. You still chase after Snaking if they want with a Blink Dagger. It's up now.
There's help waiting behind.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Stop to go for his shovel. Goes into the Ancients blind. Hits that crush.
BetBoom forcing Falcons back, and they're not finding that skirmish that they want with all this spell damage. Fail up on Centaur would make the Lich and the Gyro spells do a lot more. All of this is time for Nightfall to push towards what will be another early BKB, it looks like.
Dire's courier has been killed.
So it's going to be another early BKB timing for some of these cores on BetBoom. They got a decent amount of value out of last game, so you can't really blame them here. If they can translate these BKBs into a strong teamfight into Roshan, that's what they're looking for here. Get that Slaughter amp activated. Falcons continuing to try and find some opening in this game. So many early smokes committed. It's just all on this Centaur jump. Where are you going with it? Seems like they're indecisive.
Radiant's middle
It's
tower
wild
is
to me,
under attack.
Falcons, so many of their smoke attempts against BetBoom either don't work out or they only get a support for it, and yet they just keep on winning the games overall. GPK going to be chased away from the mid tower. Falcons will take that.
Big objective win for them. And it'll get Skeeter his Ags.
Radiant's middle tower
So their farm
is
rate's going to start to pick up here. We saw this in the game one. Maybe the early game wasn't as smooth as they wanted it, but they got what they needed, and that means the team can just outplay you on the map. Their supports just always seem to find that little bit extra. Like, how is snaking on a Lich the most farm support coming out of this first 20 minutes? Does not make sense to me, but the man finds a way. I mean, I guess this hero does actually farm jungle better than he used to. You can pull creeps now. Just kills large creeps. I guess you get your mana back.
Yeah, compared to Save, though, who's been
That's what I'm saying.
stacking and
It's like-
farming, like, that just doesn't
Dire's
seem
middle
possible.
tower is
That
under
just
attack.
ain't right, boy.
Weird.
Well, they have identified that this Lich is indeed out of control, and they're going to smoke gank him.
Get him.
You've been farming too long. Never mind, we got
the Razor even better. GPK, oh, he went for snaking instead, but they have the disruption onto Malrine, so it's not like Malrine was able to get away.
And I think Sei's role in this game is maybe the most important for BetBoom. I mean, if you want some extra scaling to change this game's dynamic compared to that game one, it's got to be off the Shadow Demon. Demonic Purge is huge here, getting rid of some of the Lich defensive capabilities, slowing down these heroes, at least outside of the Stampede, giving you that save for the Centaur jump. There's so many things that Save can do to make these fights really obnoxious for Falcons.
Right, and the Shadow Clone.
Yeah, sure, that too.
Don't forget about that.
I mean, I am going to forget about it because I don't think it's going to do anything here. But
yeah, I haven't really seen it too much. It is interesting, though. It's like kind of another farming mechanism for a Shadow Demon. Get some kills, run the illusions into a neutral area somewhere. Let's go farm. Wait, can he control them? I remember reading it earlier.
I assume you can.
Assume so as well.
You can control all the other illusions.
Well, BetBoom take another early Tormentor, though last time they took the enemy Tormentor first. I doubt Falcons is going to give them that same opportunity again. Got the Shard for the Mirana, probably not the Shard that you wanted. They probably wanted the Shadow Demon one.
I mean, BetBoom are going to ramp up the pressure here because they have double BKB done. Nightfall just hit his Shadow Blade on top of it, so he is very ready to join these fights and join these moves. And again, you really want the pick off of the fight right now to lead into that Roshan. I mean, you can just force it with your BKB timing here. But it's not going to feel as good because this first Roshan isn't worth that much. You'd rather get the fight that leads into it. That's what's actually worth more here. And this Shadow Blade entry could be something that just gives you a free pick off of the map that can open up that numbers advantage. Now's the time to make something happen. You have Solar Flare coming back up. It's Falcons who have to respond accordingly here. Not get caught off guard, not got picked off on the map. Shiva's done for the Centaur, will definitely help front line. Okay, they're just going to take the Roche, but they're not going to do it with all 5, which I like more here.
They did have their momentum seriously slowed down in game 1 by the fact they couldn't get early Roshan. So maybe this is the change that BetBoom is able to make in this game 2. Early Roche might allow them to take over the map a little bit quicker before the Gyrocopter becomes the menace that he was in game 1.
It's a 5-man smoke from Falcons that is late to the party. Though they did hit a really nice item spike with the Shiva's BKB done on Razor, and he has an amp damage rune. And they'll catch Toronto Tokyo in the same spot. But he does not die, and Solar Flare goes out. So they're going to try and turn this.
Still does not finish him off. And they are having heroes come in from behind. This is going to be dangerous to jump in from Miro. Nightfall is about to ride to the team fight to blow up the Gyrocopter. He's got BKB to ensure he dies here. Now Malrine with a BKB of his own has to run. Without the Gyrocopter, they're lacking in damage, but he's hit by the Demonic Purge. He's going to get run down as well, and Miro's catching even more. They're going to make sure all 3 cores are going to go down on the side of Falcons. What a perfect situation for BetBoom.
Just a really well-played sequence. And the fact you don't finish off Toronto Tokyo there comes back to bite you hard as he gets all of his spells off, multiple arrows in this fight. But honestly, Save really set a lot of this up. He blinks and gets the disruption, which stalls enough for the Nightfall to come in from the backside, Miro to come in from behind, and then he gets the Demonic Purge on Malrine, seals his fate at the end again. This Demonic Purge is going to be huge versus the Razor post-Stampede. So if you engage aggressively as Falcons, you use the Stampede, and it doesn't get you out of the spells you need it to get you out of. You might just be stuck in nowhere land. Oh, God damn. Supports find the Slardar, so that's a big win for them.
One hell of a shot from Crit.
We'll trade snakings like, buddy. I mean, that man don't care. So Nightfall, he gets a lot out of that. Gonna continue to build momentum here. Full Silver Edge done, has that shard. working towards that level 20 talent. Hazelens for save. These are big items coming out for BetBoom in terms of snowballing this game and continuing to win the fights here.
Taking the outpost with a soon-to-be Blink Dagger on Nightfall. These strength heroes are going to be a menace. They don't die easy. And they have super good pickup potential.
They also have insane building damage.
Yeah.
Between this Dragon and Tiny. You mess up close to your base in this game as Falcons, it's going to be gone.
Yeah, they're really setting themselves up for like, okay, we just have to catch Falcons a couple times and we'll be able to take a lane of barracks.
This feels very similar to game one. Very similar. You're building momentum. You're playing this game pretty well.
I would
you have
say
a decent net worth lead. You have this Tiny who's snowballing. This is where it all went wrong.
I feel like they're like 5 minutes ahead though. You know what I mean?
The lead's not as big, but it maybe feels a bit more stable because this Dragonite, in theory, has better matches than that Wind Ranger did into the double blade mail heroes. That was a big problem for GPK to find impact in those later fights. Here, he can continue to scale and become a tanky frontliner force of his own, which can be annoying here. But you should never count out Falcons, especially when they have their Razor.
And particularly against BetBoom.
Yes. Nightfall finds a little pick off. That's what you want to have happen. So that's the strength of the Aegis on this Tiny. You can play the rest of the team together, let this Tiny run around in this Silver Edge, and just be a solo pickoff machine. It becomes very hard to play the map if you're Falcons because you take the full fight that you might not be confident to take. You don't know where the Tiny is. You're having trouble split pushing the map. Your pickoffs aren't as big a threat on their own. GPK wants to catch.
And they'll catch something. Will they win the fight off of it? Looks like the gyrocopter.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, he just can't deal with these tanky guys right up in his face with BKBs. He doesn't do enough damage. So, like, last time we saw this where a lot of time the gyrocopter was challenged and he would die, but he would get off enough damage that heroes were low and then the rest of Falcons would come in and clean up.
And
that's
remember,
not happening this time around.
You do not want to die near your base because these men are going to walk straight down towards it. And they know who they want in these fights. They ignore the Centaur, they ignore the supports. It's about the gyrocopter. Take the damage out first, the squishy damage dealer, and your base is gonna disappear here unless you can muster a defense.
Arrow.
Oh,
that's gonna catch Malreed. Immediately, Nightfall makes the jump. Razor already down to half HP. They throw out a Chain Frost, which could be good to kill Nightfall, but the illusions that came out of the disruption and the facet from the Shadow Demon tank up the rest of the Chain Frost. So BetBoom are going to take a full lane of barracks. Just like at 30 minutes last game, they do hit a 15k lead. But this time around, they're a full lane of barracks ahead.
And probably in a far more comfortable position in terms of the scale.
Yeah.
Both these supports are going to scale very well for them. Dragonite is going to have a much better time, and the moves continue to be a struggle for Falcons. So they'll find save. Nice little pick off. Not that core they were looking for.
Illusion.
Vision is still up here for BetBoom, so they can continue to play around this high ground. Could take the 4-on-5. As Falcons wait for Malreed to respawn here.
Always like that build-up. Bloodthorn pickup for the Dragonite at some point. He's got the Orchid already. I mean, this just ensures you won't run out of damage. At least not anytime soon.
Radiant are scanning.
Seems like Bloodthorn is that big item in some of these games to remove the threat of heroes becoming too tanky.
Yeah.
As long as there's no clear dispel mechanisms against it.
I mean, we saw that against
the Ame Tiny yesterday, yeah.
Ame Tiny yesterday, yeah.
And the other big factor here is that Shadow Demon versus Lich matchup. Like, your Saving Grace is supposed to be this Lich armor similar to the Divine Favor 10 from last game. It's just not necessarily going to be there. A much easier spell to deal with when you have Demonic Purge plus Amplify damage. ATF will find the jump, and they'll get a decent link here.
Nightfall's getting behind him. And they use that Solar Flare, but the Tiny is getting kited around. Zotu, though, Mira was able to get away from the rest of Falcons. So It's not like he dies for anything. BetBoom, blink backwards and just say, okay, that was one of the failed team fight starts, so let's not just try and push it too much. Ultimate's used on both sides, though. The biggest one is definitely, the longest cooldown. Not the biggest one, but the longest cooldown is definitely that solar flare.
Still up in 90 seconds here, and that'll complete the Daedalus for Nightfall.
Have you noticed the solar flare's impact?
No, I mean, I'm sure it's having impact, but it is a very hard spell to see.
Yeah.
It's very hard to notice it.
It's like this light golden thing, and then they just slowly start attacking faster, but it builds up over time. One, God, two! Did he just hit back-to-back crits?
The hell was that?
I think that was two 1,400 crits.
No, he only crit once, but...
Oh, did he get a shadow plane hit maybe initially?
God, it deleted
that first one did so much damage. Oh,
that's the crit. Oh, he did.
He got two.
Oh my God!
I told you, man.
Jesus.
There is no way the Razor gets chunked like that.
I mean, Nightfall just used all his RNG luck for the year. He channeled it for that exact moment. Blows this game wide open. Now you have to take a desperation fight, 3v5.
They're gonna go for Miro here. Arrow lands onto the Centaur. The shot building up, hits the Tiny.
Hurricane Pike
on a mark, gets him.
Actually, enough here.
Low ground shots don't matter to the Dragon.
I mean, there was a lot of questions. Are BetBoom just gonna crumble? Are they gonna feel the pressure and not be able to respond in a game that's very similar to game one? They have perhaps learned from their mistakes. Looking to close this out, and they have a very comfortable lead now. Almost 10,000 net worth advantage between those two carries. It's just not a fair fight for Skeeter, and he does not have the same help he had last time to recover that difference.
Time for Roshan too. Complete those last couple of items, maybe. They've got the Aghanim Scepter for the Sloardar.
Triple Ogre Seal Totem.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this a couple of times now. There was that game last night, upper bracket final. I'm pretty sure we saw that one come through as well. It was, I think, specifically against the Razor.
Yeah, it's just an amazing anti-Razor item.
Way too good against that hero.
It's basically 3 extra 4 staff breaks. Like, okay, good luck getting a link here. It's going to be another smoke versus Roshan that is just too slow from Falcons here. Nowhere near enough time to contest this. So another Aegis for the Nightfall Tiny. Just going to let him go ham in these fights, and he is close to Swift Blink.
Falcons is all in. They smoked, they bought a gem. They really want to find some sort of opening here, because I think they know the BetBoom.
Are you willing to go on Nightfall? You are. This is slow.
He's got an Aegis too. Like, do you really want to go on this? BetBoom are going to be here soon. GPK's already found crit. And Miro is already killing Maureen. He just 100-0'd Maureen. He didn't stand a chance against this Sloardar, and now Nightfall coming back with his second life means this game is over. Falcons were indeed all in, and they lost that draw. We are now going to a game 3.
So much difference a single hero can.
4-16 at the start of this series. That's BetBoom's track record against Falcons this season. Now they are 5-17. Can they get a 6-win over Falcons, propelling themselves to the grand finals, take on Game Gladiators, or will Falcons have yet another grand finals berth?
If they ever needed a win, it was now. None of those other losses matter if you get this one, and then you never play them again. Ha! Gotcha, fools. It's a big game. Big game for BetBoom. Maybe not as large a game for Falcons as, you know, they're already qualified. They've won some tournaments this year. They're going to have confidence going into Riyadh no matter what. But they would love to get another grand final and maybe get some revenge on Gaming Gladiators who are awaiting them.
So some things are going to stay the same, or in fact, most of them. Most of the facets that you've come to expect from these repeat heroes are going to be chosen. We're once again going to see the Mirana with the Solar Flare, but an interesting switch up, with one that I fully support. Dance of the Dead for the Muerta. I think this is just much better than the Ofrenda. I just don't think that respawn mechanic is actually that usable. I don't think it changes that much of the game, whereas I feel like this Dance of the Dead, having seen it in action, it is very annoying in team fights.
Could definitely just straight up win you some fights if you start snowballing off it. It's a lot more annoying of a facet to play against for sure. I think maybe the ceiling's higher on a Frenda if you can actually make it work in some of the later fights. It's like a carry or something, but
sure.
The floor is a lot higher on this one. And yep, we're going to see save opt for it here. Just wants some better consistency. The Spectral Blade again for the Wraith King is going to give him a lot more single target burst. Maybe not slaying this lineup needed, but it's going to be definitely overwhelming now. Maybe a bit more hybrid damage to go against this Wyvern. Could be interesting in some of those later fights. We're going to see the Dragon Sight here for some bonus damage. I don't know if Snaking's going to scale, but I mean, his hero's mainly here for the spells. The ability to rebuke all of this physical. My biggest question this game is, can BetBoom set a pace that's just too fast? Daniel talked about the greed here between the Doom, the Troll, Wyvern can sometimes be a slow support to get online. Sure, you have Dragon Knight Willow that can play pretty fast on the map, but are you contesting these early Roshans? Are you stopping this overwhelming physical from taking objectives on the map? First Blood is definitely going to help with that, as the Brambles seal Toronto Tokyo's fate.
Just too hard to get out of that Bramble Maze with the new facet, especially under any sort of obstruction like the trees in that situation. We also have Amar, who is known to be a greedy offlaner on a greedy team with a greedy draft, and he's got a greedy facet. So he's going to have that one where you can sell items for 90% of their value. I think people are trying to theory craft like what would be really good to buy and then sell later.
Midas.
I think he may just straight up just be like getting value out of the bracers.
I mean, my first thought is Midas.
Thought somebody said it didn't work for Midas.
What? Is that true? I mean, that would actually make sense to me, but I didn't see that anywhere in the spell. There's a lot of other interesting small things you can do with it, though. They're going to be cool to see if they happen. Like, you can buy early bracers or early helm and just sell it back after then getting the value out of it. In fact, you can buy early items for the lane and then just sell them to get a mega fast Midas that you normally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever a play, but it sounds kind of wacky. We have seen ATF get to a point on this hero where he does often sell something back to get those like late game refresher orbs or upgraded blink, something of this nature. So I'm sure he's not feeling too bad about having that facet up his sleeve.
I mean, the thing is that it is something that you want to use in some way, because otherwise this is just a straight up nerf, because your buyback costs are also more expensive by 15%.
So you have to get value out of it somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
Malrine is having a rough one. Yeah, GPK is taking it to him.
Though Malrine did win a lot of the early CS pretty heavily here, so we are seeing Falcons take a lead in all three lanes pretty much, despite what the regen is showing here. CSing quite well, and maybe trying to win one of these early games for the first time in this series, where that period of the game has just not gone their way. Would be a big win for this lineup that has a lot of teamfight power in that mid game, just wants to be able to slowly get to it. See how many stacks get created for both sides too. You have a Templar Assassin on one, and you have this Dragon Knight who wouldn't mind some acceleration of his own.
Yeah, they're going to have a Troll who's probably going to go Battle Fury builds at some point, right? That's still the build.
I will say, I played some pubs yesterday, and there were some games where this Doom just did so much damage. I think part of it was you get an extra 10% on your attacks. So you're going in and you're just beating someone down with these Infernal Blades in the late game. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but any damage you give to Doom is big because he dooms you and you can't heal. So there's just nothing you can do about it. Yeah. This hero does a lot of damage in these later fights and catch you off guard. And GPK, he converts on that advantage he was building in terms of the HP and finds a solo kill on the Dragon Knight.
Massive. Give the CS advantage to Dragon Knight, but getting that kill puts GPK way ahead in net worth and experience now.
Even tried the tree vision block, did not save him. And Malrine really struggling in this lane. Not a matchup I thought would have been that bad for him. This has mainly been a DK favored matchup, if anything.
Yeah. Do you know if, so Doom's this passive, do you know, it says Doom's attacks, do you know if that applies to Infernal Blade?
I think it applies to the initial hit. I don't think it applies to like the Infernal Blade damage itself. But what my point is that when you Dooms, when you chase them down, you end up getting 10, 15 right clicks off.
Sure.
An extra 10% damage on that could be another 200 or 300 damage, which is a huge deal for a hero that's trying to all in you with an anti-heal mechanic.
Yeah.
So don't underrate these little damage buffs that get thrown on these heroes that can use them well. We're going to see Nightfall pay the price down here.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
He did go for the Spectral Blade build. I personally am a bigger fan of the Skeleton build, though I totally understand why this game, the Skeletons may not have nearly as much value. When a Wyvern, Troll, even just the Doom in lane with his Scorched
Dire's
Earth.
top tower is under attack.
Sure, both builds on this hero are viable. It's probably just a player preference thing. We're going to try and line up
To the
an
arrow. Mar, can he survive through this one? Doesn't look like it. Too much damage. So yeah,
Very
you
well
get
played.
the kill on Nightfall, but Nightfall comes right back, gets the kill on you. Mid lane though, they win because the support wasn't there. Crit was rotating around mid. GPK is able to get through that field of brambles and get on top of the Willow. And Crit is gonna have to back down. He's gonna be slowed down by another trap. How much does GPK want to chase this one? He's gonna have to go far to get it, but he does eventually get it. And Miro cut across from the top lane to pick up the support kill as well. And Tokyo gets the Wisdom Rune. I think we can say BetBoom won yet another laning phase.
I mean, they're behind on the net worth. Like, there's something to be said about CSing at the end of the day. And we're seeing Falcons still pulling ahead, but that was a big move from them, a big sequence. Getting a lot of XP out of that. Rebuking this Dragon Knight push. You had an amp damage rune that would have just deleted your tower. They're making some nice moves to salvage the CS situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely here.
I mean, I guess now that I think about it, they got to be winning an experience off of these kills and the double Wisdom Rune, but usually that impact is felt from your supports getting level 6 first, and I don't know how impactful these support ults are early on, you know?
Not the greatest at maybe setting things up. That's true. They're going to look for another stun into arrow kill on Amar. They can separate him.
Yeah, I think Amar knew it was coming. Okay, the dead shot makes the arrow miss. It doesn't matter. They brought an extra hero to the fight, so it's easy.
That's where that curse damage feels damn nice. Gives you that little bit of extra burst. So the XP advantage continuing to go BetBoom's way. The gold advantage continuing to go Falcon's way. Kind of an interesting split here.
Radiant's top tower is under
Not one you see often. Alreen still trying to up the pressure on the mid tower while the tower pressure top is assaulted by the troll. But it's BetBoom bringing the numbers again into the Dragon Knight. He can't afford another death here,
shot,
man.
it would be a kill easy, and he does. GPK with the killing spree now.
They have really shut this Dragon Knight down. Did not want to let him get out of control. That is back-to-back deaths here.
I mean, the one thing that's getting a little out of control here is this chip damage on Skeeter.
Yeah, they're just pounding this tower.
Yeah.
is under attack.
I mean, this is a very favorable matchup for Troll. Like, we've seen Troll struggle this event, but Zero owns Slardar. There's not much counterplay to be had, especially in the laning phase. Chip damage into mid tower. It is now Maulering on the back foot. Man, the aggression into this tier 1 is... It's crazy, man. You see Falcons are just trying to draw heroes away from mid lane. BetBoom are not biting the bait.
The Doom gonna be used on GPK. Let's see if they can do the damage that ensures the Doom gets the kill, and it looks like they got it. And they've got Tokyo. Nice use there of the Splinter Blast. Miro comes in from behind. He's already low, though. That top lane was a nuisance for him, and he hoped to be able to cut in and kill Amar, but Amar managed to keep his distance nicely.
So Falcons will not let their DK go down again. And now they'll bring 5 heroes into mid before the 10-minute mark to convert on another tier 1. Skeeter is insanely active on the objectives this game.
Yeah, seriously.
He has woken up for game 3.
And he's going to bring them a huge net worth lead by taking this many early towers.
I mean, Troll is, in theory, a lot better at these early objectives because you get the bonus armor now. Like, we're seeing him sit at 26 armor at the 10-minute mark. That is kind of absurd. Lets you just man up on some of these buildings or dives a lot more comfortably.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They use the Cold Embrace for a creep to tank up the tower. And then that's enough. That Troll gets enough hits in to max out his fervor, to max out his armor.
Yeah, this is not a lineup where you would have thought the building damage was going to come from the Troll Wyvern lane over that DK lane.
Yeah.
But it definitely has. Cool way the Falcons are using their heroes here. Create some map pressure. No Doom available for another minute here, so Nightfall will feel comfortable staying down here. Always has that ult up his sleeve if he wants to skill it. Falcons definitely taking command of this early game for the first time in the series. Up 3K. In a pretty comfortable position and doing it with a Doombringer, a hero they are not afraid to go late game with.
Yeah. I really thought BetBoom was going to be the one to win out the laning phase when they got that double Wisdom Rune situation, but apparently just not strong enough to stop that mid-push situation.
The lane matchups were just not that good for them. Like, yeah, GPK got the solo kill in the DK, but he was never out-farming him.
Yeah.
And this Troll just obliterated the Slardar in that top lane. BetBoom also committed a decent amount of resources between their two supports to gank safe lane and mid, which made that lane even worse for Miro. So a lot of that net worth deficit we're seeing is just between the Troll and the Slardar. That's 2 of the 3K here. Some recovery to do. There's still one tier 1 left for BetBoom on that safe lane. They would really like to defend it. Buy time for Miro to recover. Slow down this Troll Warlord's progress on the map. As he already has Maelstrom and he's starting to clear through some jungle.
Miro does have a little bit of experience with Slardar. As BetBoom just keep on jamming this hero for him.
Basically been going the exact same build too. Same facet, same itemization, Blink, Eternal Shroud, Ags. Just seems confident that it is the right way to go no matter the situation.
Yeah, I've learned over the last month or so, the build for off lane, just build a bunch of bracers, then build an Eternal Shroud, and then go whatever else. Maureen, they had this Blink Dagger, and they wanted to make use of it. Smoke breaks on crit, but it looks like Malrine didn't fully realize it right away, so crit instantly passed the Bedlam over, thinking Malrine was going to jump and try and go for the Dragon Tail stun on somebody, but
Cobalt value.
They just run to the bottom tier 1 tower.
Here's an Arcane Rune. Hold pop for Malrine, so he will have another Dragon form very quick here. Still make another move with this Blink. And of course, this is the 3rd tier 1 tower down before that 2nd Wisdom Rune comes out. So a lot of space for Falcons to operate. They want to play aggressive. I mean, their biggest combo is these 2 supports behind the Dragon Knight. I don't think the Troll and Doom are going to lead anything off for you here. But that hit squad it's lethal in itself. Bedlam on top of this DK going in, burning you down with some more corrosion. Enough to take down anybody here. If you can find him. BetBoom, playing elusive.
Yeah, they're chilling. Seems like with TA and a Wraith King, they really need to hit their mid-game item timing here pretty hard.
Oh, I like this
Falcons
play.
Making a move for the 14-minute Wisdom Rune.
This is a very nice time to look for this play.
Maybe a 14-minute kill on Slardar with the Dragon Tail Bedlam going to work. Miro runs into one of the Brambles, struggling to get out. He loses the Wisdom Rune, then loses his life.
Maybe the first Wisdom Runes went BetBoom's way, but the second set will go the way of Falcons off just a really nice timed play. And not much action or pressure happening around the map for BetBoom in the meantime. GPK has struggled to shove in mid. The supports aren't really finding those kills, and we're going to see Toronto Tokyo. He's smoked behind bottom, but I mean, this rune's already gone. Nothing to claim here. There's just going to be a wasted smoke.
Yeah, he doesn't even have like wards to put down, an aggressive ward somewhere or anything.
Very awkward map setup for them. Maybe just feeling the lack of initiation capability. If this Slardar had the slowest game, their playmaking really got shut down. Can't really get it anywhere else.
Cuts a creep wave. See if he gets out though. He's got one more leap charge and then a TP.
Nice play by him. Draws a lot of attention from the Dragon Knight. Slows game down. Armlet on the menu from Malrine. Okay. That could be interesting. Not an item we've seen a lot in a long time outside of that Huskar. Maybe he thinks he's playing Huskar.
I like it. I mean, if the Dragon form is giving you more attack damage, then Armlet is a good item to take advantage of that, right? More damage and more attack speed. Miro on the run, he's good.
It's one of the most efficient damage items in the game for the cost. So yeah, if you feel like you need some extra damage, or you can just go in and take advantage of it, does make sense here.
And then you've got the Midas Armor aspect of the Corrosive Breath as well on the Dragon form, so even more reason for physical damage to do a lot. Reincarnation, don't think you want to level it here.
He will level it.
Oh, he'll level it after the Wraith form, so he's like, okay, maybe I can't get far enough away, but Falcons, they still go for it. His team is coming in smoke, though. This could be very good depending on what they get. Immediately, Miro jumps in and gets doomed, and Nightfall is dead again. Lamar's just charging into these heroes with the doomed up Slardar as his mark, trying to finish him off, but Save does manage to kill the Doom. The damage over time is not quite enough for Miro. Mar came so close to getting the job done, but ultimately fails. Still, though, good fight for Falcons, a 2-for-3 exchange.
Just Troll has an insane start right now. Gleipnir done at 16.5. Oof. I mean, all that fight was basically Falcons for save. Calling did a lot there, but not enough to salvage how this fight starts, which is just Nightfall going down twice casually in the jungle. And then you're just running people down, and nobody is fighting this Troll in this game. You don't really have the best utility versus Skeeter either. You don't have an Astral, you don't have a Disruption, there's no Embrace. These supports don't necessarily deal well with the Troll through the spells. They need utility. You need Yule Scepters or Force Staves or E-Blades.
TA Trap getting popped as they get the pick off on Crit, who went for a little de-warding mission.
I mean, they know Troll has
now
no ult.
Still in the river, but the Gleipnir is dangerous. Winter's Curse put onto the Slardar. Nice dead shot, but it doesn't save the Slardar's life. They have no further control to keep Skeeter around.
Nice little pick by Snake King there. Just resets that whole situation. We were seeing the silences be pretty annoying for Falcons there, as you do already have this TA shard online for GPK. So there's a lot of silence potential that can come out pretty instantly on this backline if you can land a trap or into a Deadshot Calling on maybe the Wyvern or the Dark Willow.
Yeah.
Pretty obnoxious spells for Falcons backline to deal with. That's why you really want to get your front line going as soon as possible, and Shiva's Guard done for the Doom is going to help him there. And hey, he can just sell it right now for 90%.
That's true.
And buy another one.
What a value.
What's stopping him?
So, somehow I feel like Amar is going to use that to troll. It just means he could buy more
Mantles of
Intelligence.
That's right. This was made for
drop
him.
them and then sell them out.
I mean, when people talk about is this patch just a Falcons patch 2.0, everybody's thinking about the Timber Saw, but it was the Mantles all along.
1 kill turns to 2 on Nightfall because they got him on level 1 Reincarnation. The Reincarnation was a long enough cooldown that a second gank gets him next to his tier 2 without a second life, and now Miro's in trouble. Oh, Falcons are picking up the speed now, and BetBoom are struggling to keep up. They're trying to hit their mid-game timing here of the Radiance plus the Desolator, but they are falling really far behind, so much so that those item timings, they may not be impactful anymore once you get them.
They just don't have lane shove. Which of these heroes is going to push out these scary lanes deep or force some reaction out of Falcons on the map?
Oh, I know. I got an answer to that. Wraith King.
Good try.
With the other facet.
JK, I got to farm my Radiance to be able to do that, and it's very slow here. Third death before you even have that Relic out on your hero. You're looking at these net worths. They're just not growing enough. And these, I don't think I've seen a lane really cross the river, you know, outside of that mid lane going up the ramp, which doesn't really count.
Yeah.
There is just no forward map progress here for BetBoom, as the threat has been very high from Falcons, and honestly, a lot of it, gotta give props to Skeeter in this game. It felt like he just set so much of that early tempo up from a hero and from a role that I don't think BetBoom were expecting.
Yeah.
Like, you're not thinking about this troll taking 2 of your tier 1s by 10 minutes, making mid-rotation, destroying that lane so hard, playing past that tower, prioritizing maybe team advantage over his own. Just good carry gameplay here. Really set this game up well for Falcons, and now they are reaping the benefit. Not like his game is bad at all either way. Most farmed hero by far. He's ready to rumble.
He's going to get Ags after the Manta?
There's some argument for it, but I could also just see something that helps him take the physical man fight here. I mean, Ags can do that with some extra mischance. Something to be said about just a casual BKB. You definitely want AEC somewhere in this lineup. It's not that great a troll item. Maybe Dragon Knight picks it up later. But anything that helps you with this armor is going to be nice because, I mean, like we said, this lineup for BetBoom is pretty one-dimensional. You're all in on the physical damage and the armor aim.
BetBoom doesn't know, but they are smoking to a troll that used his ultimate to farm Ancients. Oh, no, he didn't get the blink off. Oh, he had a crush opportunity on 2. Instead, he's going to be left behind for that blunder.
I think that would have been a tough fight no matter what.
Sure.
Like, you didn't even have Nightfall at the start of that. He does have his Radiance done. You have the Deso done for GPK, so BetBoom were trying to use this item timing to find something, but honestly, I think if he goes in there, that fight is very tough. You're giving a very good setup to the Dark Willow and the Wyvern here. They're just going to turn those types of engagements against you, so that'll be a Roshan or Skeeter. Probably going to take this Aegis, play aggressive with it, can force some more objectives, force some more buildings down if he really wants to. He has made this troll look good.
Force it, they will.
You are doomed, son. Means you are dead. I ran into the brambles to try and give the kill to...
Yeah, to give it to Crit instead of Amar.
I like that play.
Dude, do you see how many brambles there are because he has the shard?
Yeah, this is where this build becomes fun. You're so damn obnoxious in the fight. If you ever get to like Shard, Aetherlands, Octarine, Lane on 0, you're just a menace, man. Absolute menace. I mean, you don't have BKB control, but that's where Wyvern bails you out. And look at what we got here.
Yeah, Templar Assassin is no match against a troll that is out farming you.
This matchup's not necessarily fun for TA anyway.
Yeah.
This chance you have to deal with very good refraction burner.
No, it's definitely a matchup that if you want to be able to win as the TA, you need to be ahead in net worth, and that is not the case here. Back for a Midas. Amar says, yeah, I'm going to use that 90%. I'm going to buy a late Midas here after Blink Shiva. Save's going to be in trouble here. Deadshot trying to create some space for him. Pops his ultimate and fights for as long as he can, but eventually he'll get ripped to shreds. Meanwhile, second life of Nightfall. Looks like he's going to die twice as well. No TP rotations. BetBoom are just running out the side lanes, or every other lane that is not represented by 5 Falcons heroes.
It feels like the most Nightfall has gotten to do this game with his ultimates is farm some neutral creeps before he finally perishes.
Yeah.
He has just gotten nothing done in these fights. And most of it has just been Falcons finding him on the map and killing him solo. The start of his game was so slow, they just didn't have an initiation tool, and it has hurt them a lot here.
I mean, how does Wraith King and Templar Assassin possibly deal with Troll if Troll ever hits them more than like 3 times?
That's what I'm
Not
saying.
only is he locking him down, but he's getting all this armor so they don't even do any damage back.
This Troll pick was really good. What they foresaw for it and what it's doing in these core matchups, and the fact they have supports to help him, whereas this Wraith King and TA, the Morano and the Morta don't help you deal with this Troll. None of their spells really offer much to dissuade Skeeter just winning these man fights. He just has free reign right now. He's going ham, man.
God damn.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Can you
Radiant
recover?
are scanning.
That's the big question. It's going to be a tough uphill battle. Falcons have a decent shot at just closing this game out on the next Aegis, it feels like.
Yeah, it is feeling like Falcons.
Dire are scanning.
They're going to try and close this out by 35 or something. But Falcons sometimes can play a pretty slow, methodical game, and I don't think they're too concerned about their late game.
Yeah, but I think you have to find some moves here with this Aegis expiring if you're BetBoom. Like, you can't just sit back and get out-farmed. You're going to have to a Midas Octarine Doom with Devour. You're going to have this Troll clearing through the whole map. You're just getting outpaced here. Have to find a move. You have to find it soon. It'll be another Broken smoke. Should lead to the Willow kill, but can you deal with the follow-up here?
Yeah, he's not even that close to being dead.
Never mind.
Focused on the troll instead, but he got off his ultimate. A crush goes down. Skeeter chasing after these heroes. His ultimate will expire here soon, but he's got an Aegis, so he doesn't care.
I mean, if Nightfall goes down twice again here,
yeah, he's
Manta
dead.
dodge the bolt.
Done.
They're just a disaster of a team fight, a disaster of a game for BetBoom. They have not found anything in this game 3 as Falcons pick some signature heroes for themselves and make them look beautiful here. And now they're just in full control. Like you are going to have a tough time finding openings back in this game now because the Doom and the Troll are fully out of control here.
We saw some adjustments from BetBoom after game 1 to make their lineup really work in game 2. Part of that was taking the Dragonite. An adjustment, I guess, was made by Falcons too. They take the Dragonite in game 3. But what else do you think Falcons did, like draft-wise or play-wise, to address BetBoom?
I think they made sure their supports were in a position to impact the fights a lot more and provide more of that scaling threat that they like to play with. Like, this is a team that likes to get their supports farmed alongside the cores. That's only as good as they can make it work. Triple courier kill. What the hell was that?
That was a pretty insane amount of net worth recovered in some ways as Miro takes away the basher from Falcons for a little while.
I mean, yeah, that was like a 10K swing in the river. Definitely some hopium here.
Radiant are scanning.
Still trying to get BKB, man. Oh, I will say this Spectral Blade buildup, it feels so slow.
Yeah,
you have
you're
to
losing,
recover.
You just lose even harder as Wraith King.
You can't push waves, you don't clear camps as fast.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Man. Whew. Tough game for Nightfall.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, Falcons definitely making a showing that they are very deserving to have a rematch against Gaming Gladiators here. And BetBoom trying to hold the high ground, but it's not looking good. They don't really have a plan that they can actually enact, crush into nothing.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
The Wraith King's gonna come back. Even if he was to have his BKB, would it make a difference against the Troll?
Radiant's bottom barracks is falling.
Take the ranged barracks first to make sure they don't refresh the glyph right away. They'll take the melee barracks last. An attempted deny from GPK, not even that goes right.
Hey, big DD rune though.
Big amp damage. Took it away from Falcons. That's about the best you could say. And it is going to be AC for the Dragonite.
Yep. That wasn't. That's like the last nail here.
Yeah.
You just can't push that through that with this lineup. There's almost no way. He has so much armor. His armor doesn't even take him down. There's like 50 regen. Once more, the itemization on point here from Falcons. They've dealt with what BetBoom had proposed in this game 3. Made it look very easy. Still looking for this BKB, man. Oh, it's so slow.
So slow. And Falcons, they're going to chill out, farm up some more. Looks like a little man, two-man smoke. They know BetBoom is just scrambling around the map trying to rally up some farm here or there, but Amar has a great hero for picking people off, and they had a great ward set up. They're like, we know you're going to go to that ancient side camp. Just place the high ground ward and wait. Try to take the outpost back. Save will get caught in the process, and then Falcons will just likely take the outpost again. All that for nothing. No progression unless you're on the side of Falcons. Now progress to a 22,000 net worth lead for them. And just a minute away from the next Roshan spawn.
Just not giving any space. No camps to farm, try and come back here.
Yeah, they haven't killed a hero in 10, 15 minutes.
I will say the more we watch these, I can see why this Dragon Knight became
Dark
first pick.
Willow, what time is that? Like 17 minutes in? It's been 14 minutes of nothing for BetBoom.
I don't think they're going to find anything either.
Oh, Ari didn't make it up the hill.
Yeah, don't go back through there.
That is the Death Suns.
Amari actually chasing here. Wow, he really wants to get this run off the map.
Well, he also, team doesn't need him for taking Roshan, that's for sure, so. Might as well get more farm, and that farm is going to be in the form of a Toronto-Tokyo Mirana, who just cannot stop hitting brambles because they're all over the goddamn place.
All right.
A smoke to the other side of the map, missing 2 heroes. Can they get here fast enough? They're going to be coming through the portal soon. They have to scan on him. It's now or never, BetBoom. And I guess it's never.
You already have an AN disc up on this Wyvern, so I don't know if the jump was there, but
Yeah.
I agree. If you're not going to find it there into some crazy Roche steal, are you going to do it in a high ground defense against an Aegis troll?
Look at Skeeter just taking mid. The rest of his team stays grouped up bottom, but Skeeter's like, I am so strong. I'll be the one to deal with the mid wave. I'll push in and meet with you guys at bottom, where they're likely to go high ground.
Can definitely see the value of this new troll type buildup versus these physical lineups. You just get so much extra armor through the talents and the facet. Allows you to play really aggressive here. And Nightfall does have BKB.
Yeah, but you have an Abyssal Blade. Good dead shot, though. Gotta push away the troll. Push him away as much as possible. Great Winter's Curse, though, with the Terrorize to follow it up. This is going to be a beautiful team fight combination here as the Fervor axes getting thrown out all over the place, demolishing the supports while he lays into the raid.
He got crit.
Time and time again. They did get crit, so the first kill in 15 minutes. But it is in the darkest hour for BetBoom as they lose a team fight into a lane of barracks.
Crit just feeding out of his mind this game.
Yeah, really
but it's not enough to drag BetBoom back. And the hits are just not doing much here into the armor buildup that came online way too fast.
It's just pitiful, the damage. He takes more damage by toggling off his armlet.
I mean, look how much armor his troll has. He's like 40 that goes to 60.
It's pretty nasty.
Got Elven Tunic Evasion on top of that. AC Aura. This guy is a siege machine.
Big
nice
crush.
Yeah.
Is there any follow-up to it? They actually got the arrow on the troll, not any of the illusions, and it's still nothing to be done about it. GG is called, and Falcons remain undefeated.